Hey guys, Be Good Burp here. So today we're going to be talking about TDS towers and my favorites of them. There are a lot of towers in TDS, all with their own unique properties and looks. And that's basically what we're going to be talking about today. So after a long delay after the post, here's my top 10 favorite TDS towers. We're starting off with a banger one here. At number 10, we got the Sledger. This is a really good tower, and also the reason I got Hidden Wave, but we're not going to get into that right now. Really bad at early game, but at later levels, you can really deal with strong individual enemies like bosses. Especially at level 3, when it gets that freeze, you can destroy enemies combined with other towers if you want to use them for early game. And level 4 especially too is also really good for dealing with strong enemies. In combination with Commando, it's really good. And not seeing hidden detection is not even that bad because it can hit them anyways if there's another enemy near them because of multi-hit, like sort of like how Gladiator does, except as a limit. That multi-hit is really good, especially against crowds of fast enemies. So you can use this thing with a lot of ways. It's really versatile. And I also really like how it looks, especially at max level. At level 4, the hood is really cool, and I like its max level hammer look. And yeah, its overall versatility and usefulness is what landed it at the spot. So that's why Sledger is at number 10. So now we got the Cowboy. This is a really good tower, especially its golden variants. This thing can solo fallen pretty well by itself. While you can't place it for early game, you can place it later. I mean, you only start out at 600. If it's normal, you can, but if it's golden, you can't place it for early game. But as long as you skip the first wave, you can deal with some of the first wave enemies and then destroy the rest of them. Level 2s are really good for money, and level 3s are really good for damage, so you have like a bunch of level 2s, you can take out even the stronger enemies really well. And while it might struggle in late game, like enemies will get really far, like you can see here, you can really do some serious damage with Cowboy spam. So that really solidifies it as a really cool tower in my opinion. It's got some really cool skins too, with like Badlands, Cassidus, Valentine's, Golden. All those are really good, and that's why it's here at this spot. This one's gonna be weird. Engineer. A lot of people did not like this tower when it came out because, well, nobody understood how to use it. This is a really good tower. It's also really good, in my opinion. I really like its design. The overalls and the gun and everything really just suits the mechanic vibe. It's got some cool skins, and this is really useful because this is like extra DPS and mid to late game. That like Accelerator cannot handle mid game, so it's nice to have Engineer if you are playing with more than one person. So you can place engineers to help out in mid game and late game if you're doing like farming in the background. If you have really good farming, you can get all your ASOs and NGs by wave 40. And it's also like borderlining necessary for certain modes like Polluted Wastelands, Badlands, all that stuff. It's not necessary, but it's almost because of how necessary DPS is, and for things like soloing those things, it is necessary because how strong and how much extra DPS applies. Also, its sentries not being able to be stunned is really good. It's a really good tower in general. And is it worth the 4,500 gem price? No. Did I grind my life away and lose my sanity trying to get it? Heck yeah, Alright, so here's a tower a lot of people like, the Crook boss. This is generally a really well-made tower. Its golden variants, as per usual with golden variants, is really good. This thing is meant to be used as wave 10. It can destroy those waves. Well, level 2 for golden and level 3 for normal can easily take out abnormal bosses. And while it's not so useful in other modes, it still can be used for those stuff because of how reliable it is, because of the units spawning. I really like units, so I mean, we already had 2 towers on this list with that our unit towers, like towers that spawn units. Units are really good because even if the Crook boss doesn't kill it, the guard might, and that's really helpful, especially when the guards stack up later at like max level when there's a bunch of them. They can really add so much extra DPS. And the 4 limit's kind of a shame for a tower being unlocked at level 30. So that solidifies it here at this spot. So now we got turret, or as I like to sometimes call it, torreta, the Spanish name. If you set your language to Spanish, but whatever, we're not getting into that. Turret is a really good tower. Be unlocked at level 50 with really high DPS, slightly higher than a golden minigunner, and completely absurd range of 26 for a ground tower. That's like the range of a base level sniper, but for a ground tower. So yeah, it's pretty useful, and it's really like useful for newer players having not being able to have accelerator unless they buy it, obviously, or engineer, and usually not having golden towers by then. So turret's really good for a starting option, as it can do some massive DPS, and probably if you combine it with a friend's defenses, you could probably do a fallen if you're good enough with turret. It doesn't get used too much, only in newer strategies, new strategies for newer players. But I still love it because of like my connection to it that I've had for a while. Its design, its skins are also really cool. So yeah. Probably the only tower that on this list that could be considered trash, the Commando. This thing is not good anymore, but it was so good. And it still looks very cool. I mean, it's got the funny factor of the flex armor. The flex armor is so cool, you know. I just wish that it could back up that cool armor with some DPS or some range. This thing's range is freaking 19, or like something like that. 22, I think it is a max level. And his damage is not a lot, especially not on the rockets. And not having hidden detection is really bad for what would be used for mid-game. Because if you're using a mid-game defense, you need it to have hidden detection. Because most likely, if you're using mid-game defense, your early-game defense does not have hidden detection. Even then, this thing does not do enough damage to justify mid-game defense. Because it's so bad. But enough complaining about it. This, like, favorite towers tier list. This thing looks so cool, and I like really genuinely like it. And even though it's not useful anymore, it's still a really cool tower in my eyes. From a trash event tower to a good one, the Gladiator is now here. This tower is considered broken by most people, as it should. Though this thing's really fun to use because of that. I love the Gladiator. I thought the whole aesthetic of this 4th event was so cool, and the Gladiator is just really cool tower, especially. It's even like all its skins. Like there's not a bad skin in the bunch for Gladiator, and it's really useful too. This is the whole reason that TDS speedrunning is even fun. Sure, it'd be more interesting because you could actually strategize if Gladiator was in that thing, but you know, I mean, you still can strategize with like Christmas and stuff, but we don't need to get into that. This just allows you to farm so much. And while it wasn't useful back in the day, it is really useful now. Its ability and all that stuff is just really cool. Like 3 times a year for Robux Game Pass. That's how you know a tower's good. Yeah, this is definitely one of, if not the best event towers in the game. Up next, we got what used to be my favorite tower in the game, the military base. This thing does not get used too much anymore. It used to be used all the time because of how reliable this is. And it still does get used in hardcore, as you can see here. This is a really good tower for newer players, just because it's easy to use. All you have to do is throw this onto the track, and it just plows through enemies. This can deal with really any kind of enemy. Like, it can deal with crowds of fast enemies, crowds of slow enemies, single big slow enemy, a single big fast enemy. Like whatever you need, hiddens, that, all of it is just obliterated. And it's really well made too. This thing looks really cool. And I'd always love using military base. It's been dropped down a few points though, because I haven't been able to use it at all. Also because of grinding for engineer, kind of seeing that all the time messed it up. It's my opinion of it, but I still really like it a lot. Despite this though, it still doesn't get used, so I can't blame it for that, because it's really not meant for a higher level of the game. It's only used for that is like hidden detection and hardcore, which I already mentioned. Because it's slow, it can't do early game. It's really meant as a mid-game tower, but yeah. It would come naturally to someone who likes fire things. Second place is Pyro. This is a really cool tower. It gets used a decent amount now that its golden perk is really good. It used to be garbage, and I thought it was funny that it was garbage. I would just randomly use it for funnies. Like, I would just go on some random map and just spam the ever-living crap out of Pyros. I tried to, like, mock this in this clip by screwing around. So, yeah, that's kind of why this is chaotic. But Pyro is really good now that it doesn't speed up enemies. Its defense dropping is really, really useful, because it can, they obviously drop defense, which means stuff with higher, like, damage, like single target damage, stuff like Ranger, for example, if you're using that, which I don't know why you would, but you can use Ranger, I guess. It means that stuff doesn't affect it nearly as much, and even stuff with faster fire rate, single target faster fire rate, stuff. I don't know why I was saying single target, anyways. Greatly by defense, but with Pyro, it'll be a lot better. For the final tower for my list, with nostalgic music playing, we have the Commander. This is an amazing tower. Like, this is just like super useful. You basically have to have it for speedrunning because of its fire rate buff. This insanely buffs every tower. Just makes them so much. Okay, shut up. Makes them so much better, and it's generally really well made. A lot of cool skins. Like, the only problem I have is level 4 looking ugly, but I mean level 3. I always say level 4, but it's level 3. That's still fine. I mean, well, I didn't use Commander much in the past. Nowadays, I use it a lot, and am really good at Commander cheating, which is really fun. Like, that's the reason why I like Commander so much, is I find a fun challenge in Commander chaining. And obviously, it's a tower really meant for speedrunning, and that's what I really like to do. And really, most of what I do nowadays in TDS. With a speedrun playing in the background, very convenient. But yeah, that'll be it for today's video. Thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed this, and please tell me down below what top 10 do you want next. But yeah, be good, burb out.